welcome back to Season 1, Episode 5 of Tangle Talk. For those of you who don't know, I'm Peyton. I'm a 5th-year softball player at NC State in Raleigh. And I started this podcast, I think it's been a little bit over a month now. And I just started it to really pick people's brains. There's so many amazing people here in Raleigh, back in my hometown, and just a bunch of people I've met over the years, like through softball and stuff, and growing my NIL. And I have just, like I said, have met so many great people, and that's what really got me started in wanting to make this podcast, just really picking all those great people's brains. And yeah, I've just already heard in the short 4 episodes that we've done already, I feel like I've already gained so much knowledge of myself and grown closer to the people that have been on the podcast, just hearing their story and just hear what they have to say. So it's been awesome. I'm so glad you guys are liking it. So make sure you guys like, comment, follow the Instagram. You can follow my personal Instagram and the Tangle Talk Instagram. This episode, we have one of my best friends on the softball team. Her name is Wynne. We grew really close last year. We were both hurt during season, so I feel like that was like a good way for us to like bond together throughout the year. And we've just gotten really super close over this past year, so I know you guys are gonna love her. So yeah, stay tuned for this episode, and I hope you guys love it. This episode we have a sponsor. It's Medall Premium Hair Oil. I'm going to use a little bit on Wynne, but I've been using it and it just helps with frizz and all that kind of stuff, just putting on her ends. We're going to comb her hair today, so it's going to be super cute. But yeah, that's our sponsor for today. But yeah, so a little bit about Wynne. Like I said, we've got like really close this past year. Obviously last year was my first year at state. This is Wynne's junior year, but 2nd year playing softball. But like I said, we both got hurt, and honestly, in the fall, we both played a little bit in the fall. You played for like 4 weeks, yeah. And so I feel like in the fall we weren't super close, but then like both of us being out in the spring, I feel like we got like really closer and like we were able to like bond.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time watching Dancing with the Stars and stuff like that.
No, literally, like with us being hurt, I feel like at the same time, it's easier to kind of get through that, like when you have someone else doing it, because I remember my junior year when I got hurt at Georgia, I was the only one hurt for a while, and then it was like, even just like the simple things, like I was like, what shorts do I wear, like stuff like that, so it was like easy having like Wynne to do everything with.
Or like someone who's like feeling the same way as you, like that gets it all the time.
Like all like the little things and like obviously like the deeper things like that too, like understanding. But give us kind of like your background, like where you're from and all that kind of stuff.
I'm from Charlotte. I started playing softball when I was 10. I played rec, and the first day out there I was like, oh, I want to be a pitcher, like from the second that I got there. And so I would practice every day with my dad after school and stuff like that. And then by the time I was like 14, I started getting into travel ball, and like that's when we started traveling a ton and going to like big tournaments like cross country and stuff. And then my year, like, it was the year before me was the year they changed the rules about like committing and stuff. So, which was honestly good for me because I kind of was a late bloomer when it came to softball and stuff like that. But my junior year, it was COVID, so we didn't get to take like real visits or anything. But we had like a ton of Zoom calls, which is weird.
I feel like I hear people say that all the time. Like, we have recruits here this weekend at state, and I don't remember who it was the other day, but they were like, I did my official visit over Zoom. Like, they basically just, like, walked you through everything, like, while you're on Zoom, and I was like, that's just, like, crazy to think about. Because, like, obviously you're not actually there. Like, you're seeing the same thing as you would in person, but, like, you're not getting, like, the feel of everything. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, they offered me on a Zoom call, which was so weird, and I was like, have you guys even seen me play, like, in person before? Like, other than Athletes Go Live and stuff like that. But so I committed. I didn't really have like a ton of other offers. Like I was definitely talking to other schools, but when we came and we like drove around NC State and stuff, I was like, I really love it. And it was the closest one to home, which I'm really happy now. Like being hurt, like being able to go home and stuff on the weekends, like is key because like I needed my family and stuff like that. So yeah, then I got here, and my freshman year, I played a little bit in the fall. I think I played like 2 fall games maybe, and I fractured my spine. So I was out until January. I came back in January, and I still was like not feeling great. Like I had really bad like back issues all the time, and I kind of never really knew why. And we always thought it was like, oh, she just, like weightlifting, like putting too much weight on her back, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that year I didn't really play a ton just because I was always like fighting the injury and stuff like that, and I didn't really get any training in the fall. And then that summer I went and played summer ball down in Tampa, which was such a blessing. Like I loved it down there. It was really good, and the pitching coach down there was like amazing too. So that was good. And then I came back, and I thought with these new coaches and everything, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have like the best season ever. It's gonna be awesome. And then 4 weeks in, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't walk. Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like the back pain again. I thought that I fractured my spine again. Like I was like, which was like worrying because they were like, that's just not normal. Like you don't just like break your back all the time.
Keep bringing your back. Okay.
And so I'm like, okay. So we went to like a bunch of MRIs, like all this stuff, and finally they were like, okay, it's gotta like be coming from somewhere else. Like it's definitely like muscle guarding. Because I had some like disc stuff, but nothing like that would cause like, that kind of pain. And so they ended up doing a labrum MRI, and I like tore. Like it wasn't even like
not a little tear.
It was like completely ripped open. So they were like, dang, it must have been like this since you were like in high school, and you just like. And I kind of always pitched in pain, and I always thought it was like, oh, pitching's just painful. Like that's just how I thought it was, and like until I got to a point where it was really bad. So then now we're here.
Yeah, now we're here doing our thing. Yeah, like you said, you're from Charlotte. So how far are you from home?
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. So did you want like growing up? I feel like I talked about this in a couple of the other episodes. Just like with trying to pick a school. I feel like it's like hard to know if you truly want to go away from home or not. Like me growing up, like I feel like I wanted to go away, but like I knew to a point. Like I was like, I want to be somewhere like, obviously I've been like 8 hours and now I'm like 9 hours from home. So you can drive, but I didn't want to be like extremely far where it would be like a whole like process to like get
like
home
a
and
flight
stuff. But I guess kind of how did you think about that, like with recruiting?
I think for me it was mostly like I didn't want to go like all the way across the country. I didn't want to fly. Like I didn't really understand what it meant to like leave home until I actually did. So it kind of ended up being like when I got here I was like, oh, I'm really glad that I didn't pick somewhere further because I just don't think that I would have been.
And with being hurt, I feel like you definitely realized that because like you can have your parents here, like if you need them and stuff. That was like the same for me, which obviously I'm a little bit farther, but like my mom, so I got hurt in January, but then I had to come back here to like start getting like MRIs and stuff because it was like we're like, okay, like this isn't just something that I can get like medicine for and it's gonna help, whatever. But then like, so Austin drove me up, my boyfriend, and then like a week later my mom came and stayed for like 3 weeks. And so it's just really helpful, which obviously I'm really like fortunate that like they can do that, but also like the distance thing like really helps, like not being literally across the whole country.
That's what I tell my sister because she's a junior in high school right now and she's wanting to play volleyball. And I'm like, Holden, I know now that you and Mom fight, but she's going to be your best friend when you get to college. And like, you're going to need her because it's just a different, like when you move from home, it's like, it's a different feeling about it. Like,
it's definitely like a big factor when it comes to it. Like, that would be I feel like that's been my advice like over and over in like my podcast, like when we talk about this, but just like truly kind of take a step back, like when you are thinking about it, because in the moment you're like, I'm ready to leave, but you do have to think about that, like if I get hurt, like could they come help me or
and it's also like you think about like you're like, oh, I want to go to the best softball school ever, but like also it's like if you're not going to be happy there, it's there's no point in like really.
For sure. I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up in that, like I feel like it's so easy to say like you have to find the place that you're going to be happy like before like in recruiting, because it's like you really don't know like how you're going to feel. Like for the longest time I was committed to Georgia for I want to say like 4 years before I even went. I committed going into my freshman year of high school. So it's like in the moment when you're at that age, you're like, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
And not that like my experience was totally awful, but like I said in my last one, I just feel like there was something that like I was missing there. Like I just really like wasn't fully myself. So it's like it's really hard to do that with recruiting, but also I feel like that's like the blessing of the portal now too. I feel like there's such like a bad rep around it, but you do have the ability like to move, so also like don't put that much stress on yourself to like I have to find the perfect spot, because at the end of the day you can always change. Even though people say like don't put in the portal whatever, but
and it's also nowhere is gonna be perfect. Like there's always gonna be something similar, but like I think the thing about state that makes it so much like when something does feel like it's like off, it's like having all these people around us that we love. Like you never know how your team is gonna be, but like I think we're so lucky to have like all the girls.
That's what girls on the team will ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, do you miss like Georgia and stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I miss parts of what that was, but also like I wouldn't have met all the people here. Like I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met like all the other girls I'm like really close to, and just like even all my teammates, even if we're not super close. Like I feel like our whole team, like we're all like
connected.
Yeah, we're all connected in some way, and it's not like there's like bits and pieces, whatever. But I just feel like I tell people all the time. I'm like the people here have made the switch like so worth it. Like, but so. It's been so good, but I definitely think that's like a big part. Me and Grayson talked about that in a little bit in the last one. Just like finding your people, because this part of your life, people are like, oh, it's the best time of your life, whatever. Like you're gonna do all these great things, which you are. But it's also, I feel like, one of the hardest parts of your life too. Like you're moved away from home. You're like doing all these things for the first time by yourself, and like you're trying to find the people that are gonna support you in like your new place. So it's definitely hard, but
I think that's one of the good things about it though. Like I can be like, I go home every night and like, okay, I literally gave everything that I had today, and like now I just get to relax and I get to do it all again tomorrow. Like it's kind of fun being like, oh, I'm never gonna be somewhere in life again where I'm like, it's this hard. Like, and I honestly like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like every day it's like a challenge, and like I feel like I'm like giving everything I have to softball.
But it's so rewarding.
Yes,
every day.
Extremely,
I don't know, it's been so good, so.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked about injuries in a past episode, but I feel like it's just so common, and I'm always getting DMs like on TikTok. Girls are always like commenting, they're like, I'm getting an MRI like on my labrum, when I was posting all that like about my shoulder surgery and like asking. So it is very common, so I don't think you can talk about it too much.
And everyone's story is extremely
everyone's different. So I know we've talked about it a little bit in another one, but that's what we're gonna kind of hit on, and not necessarily like the injury part, just more of like the mental side of it too, because I had a really, really hard time my first go round of redshirting. The fact that it's happened twice is just like, that would be my
years
luck. But my first time around was so hard, and like in the moment I feel like I knew that like something was wrong. Like I was upset. Like I don't really know how to like describe the feeling I was feeling, but I just feel like everything was going wrong, and I just like couldn't get out of this funk I was in. Like I would come home, like I would have dishes to do, laundry to do, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. Like and it would just pile up and be so bad, and like now I'm just like it's total opposite. But just in the moment, it was so, just like everything felt so heavy. And it definitely, because I was hurt, and I guess like the first time around, I told Jaden in the other episode, like, not that I'm happy that I got hurt again, but like I'm kind of grateful I did, because now that I had like a whole new like experience with getting hurt, because I feel like if I didn't, like the time before, like the year before, I would have been like, it sucks, it's terrible, whatever. But I feel like this time around, like I grew so much, so I don't know. It's definitely hard.
It was definitely like, I remember when I found out that I had to get 2 surgeries, I was going to be out for like a really long time. Like I knew I was going to play that season.
Wynne had both hip labrums done, just FYI. It's okay.
I think when I found that out, I literally was like, life is over.
Like, it's gonna end.
I was like, the new coaches, they're going to cut me. Like I was like, it's just like, I was really angry, because I was like, I give like pretty much everything to softball. Like it was like the one thing that I like cared most about, and it was like, oh, you like can't play now.
Yeah.
And I'm like I can't do anything. Like I'm on crutches, like all this stuff. And like you were saying, like I would come home and I would have like homework to do and stuff like that, and I would literally be like, I have no motivation.
Yeah.
Like I would sit all day at practice and do nothing, and it would make me more tired.
Yeah.
And just want to like come home and do more.
It's just draining. Like you
Yeah.
would think you're just sitting there, you're not doing anything, but it's like. I know for me personally, like I was sitting there thinking about so much.
Yes.
Like I was just constantly thinking about, like, am I gonna come back and like be as good as I was before? Like,
Yeah.
and then I feel like for me with my shoulder, like we had a plan, like a whole like set out like week to week, rehab thing. But I feel like there was still just like, I knew that I was gonna do this arm movement this week, whatever, and then like next week I was gonna be able to catch on the machine for whatever amount. But I just feel like there was still like so much like unknown in my head.
Yeah.
So it was like I was like always playing through so many like scenarios that could happen. Like even when I come back, like I would think about like if someone slid into me at home or something, and then I would hurt my arm again. And it was just like crazy stuff like that, and I was always thinking about it. It wasn't just like, oh, I thought about that one time. It was just like
always,
constant. So it was just so draining, and the fact that it was like a year of that, just I don't know, it was so hard.
Yeah, I think like for me it was like, oh, I already want to like be doing the rehab, and I want to like go out and like I'm one of those people, like I can't take naps, like I literally need to like always be doing something.
Yeah.
So when I like am not, and like I have to like sit or just like, and like you were saying, like I was always thinking about what am I gonna do, like and like what's it gonna look like for me to come back, and like how long is it gonna like. And I just like honestly didn't know, and especially after the first one, knowing that I still had another surgery to get, I think that was like the worst time, because I was like
it's not over. Like
it's not even, it hasn't even started yet. So
like we were saying, so I've said this so many times, but so I was at my junior year and then my senior year last year, and I've just said how like this time around has been better. So people are probably like, how is it so much better? And I guess like this time, like coming from a year before where I was like so upset, and then now that I was in a new spot, I feel like that was a really like big thing that helped me. Like I wasn't in the same place anymore, because my first injury was at Georgia, and then my second one was here at NC State. So I feel like it was nice. I kind of like in the fall I had that reset of like I want to like make the most of this experience at a new college. So I feel like I kind of took that into like being injured, as like I don't want to experience what I felt before.
And you also like you got through the last one, like you kind of know.
Yeah,
like,
so it's like
again,
I know I'm gonna get through it. Yes, it's gonna suck, and like some days are gonna be hard, but I didn't want every day to feel hard like how it did before. So I feel like it truly was kind of like a switch I had to do, like in my head. Like I don't want to live how I lived last year, and I know it's like so much like easier to like say like oh like just don't be upset. But I just knew how much I hated like myself and like the way I acted too, like during that year before. Like I wasn't hanging out with people, like I wasn't being the friend that I knew that I could be, and like I knew it's because I was like just not myself. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm grateful that I was like able to like see that in myself too, rather than just like you know, but and like not know. But that was just like the thing for me. Like I didn't want to feel that way anymore, and I'm grateful that I like could like see. It was like I was able to like take a step out of like my body and like see myself like it's gonna be okay, and I just don't. But I know that's like so easy to say. But so
I feel like for me it was like when it first happened, there was so many other things going on that I felt like my whole world was like crumbling. Like social life wasn't great. My like I was dealing with other stuff, and then I was hurt, and then it just felt like I was like I have nothing. And I think like the thing for me was like I didn't know who I was without softball. Like I put my whole identity in softball. Like anytime something would happen, like I'd be like, oh, it's okay. Like I have softball. Like if I did bad on a test grade, like oh, I can still do good at softball practice. Like I really put everything that I had into softball. And I think a lot of my like what I think people think about me comes from that too. Like if someone's like, oh, like she like she never like goes out or she's like weird or something. Like I can be like, oh, it's because like I'm a softball player.
Yeah.
And then when that stopped, I was like, okay, I need to find something else. Like I need to figure out who I am without it.
Yeah.
And I like kind of resorted to some like really bad habits. Like I was obsessed with being like super skinny and like pretty, and I thought that that was like gonna be like the new me. Like oh, she's just really like cool and pretty. Like she doesn't need softball.
Yeah.
And I like had some pretty bad eating habits. Like I definitely like went through a hard time where like I wouldn't go out to eat with friends. Like I had no energy, and people were worried 100%. Like it was kind of a scary time, and I had to like lean on trainers at state and like be like, okay, it's okay to fuel your body even though you're not like going and running like 3 miles every day.
No, I feel like that's hard, like, because everyone always kind of like preaches about how you need like fuel yourself like as an athlete, and then it's like you're like, okay, I'm not that anymore, so it's like I don't need to do any of that.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm doing nothing all day. What do I need to do? Like what do I need to fuel for?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you actually still have to like live and breathe.
So you're actually still living and like doing things.
Yeah. So I feel like that was like probably my hardest time. Like I lost a ton of weight. Like I could just tell. Like I look back at old photos and like I just looked like dead. And I was not very nice. Like it made me like an angry person.
Yeah.
I was always like stressed about like hanging out with people. I'm like, oh, is there gonna be like dinner or something? And I'm not gonna like want to go. Like and like I remember after practices, I would drive the girls to go like get lunch after or something, and I would just drop them off, and I'd be like, I need to go home. Yeah. And like I only wanted to lay down. Like it was just like a really tough
it's like
time.
Consuming of you.
Yeah, and it was like the whole softball thing just didn't help, and so then I started to get back into stuff. Like I got off crutches finally, and it was like, okay, like I can like do these like mini lifts that were like basically my rehab. And I still was like in a really bad place, and so it was like kind of counterproductive, and I felt like I was just like my rehab wasn't going anywhere, and so finally like I got the help that I needed, and it's still to this day is like it's something that you kind of never really get over. Like it's always like there.
Battle,
But whenever I started playing softball again, that's when I was like, oh, like I know who I am now. Like I'm good. Like I can start like being this athlete again and not care about what people think about me. And then I went down to Florida to play, and for some reason God was like, no, you're not ready. And so it was like I was pitching in a game, and this was when I was cleared to play. Technically it was kind of soon for sure, but I should have been able to pitch in a game. And I went out there and I pitched, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't walk off the field. And I had to drive home 9 hours from Florida, and I stopped halfway at a hotel. I didn't even shower. I got out of the car, I laid face down on the bed, and just went to bed, woke up, got back in the car. I came home and my mom was like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you okay? But it was like the worst pain ever. And then when I got back home, I did like a week of like not doing anything and just like letting it rest, and it was fine. And it never happened again. So I was like, I thought I re-injured myself for sure, but then I'm like, okay, maybe that was God's way of telling me like, you're not ready. You're still not at a good place mentally. Like you can't just like think that you're gonna jump back into softball and everything's gonna be fine. So I really had to like work on like growing my relationship with the Lord and like knowing that I know who I am because I know who He is. And that's something that like I had to like really work on, because I was like, yeah, I'm a Christian for sure, but I was like, I need to like, that's who I am. At the end of the day, like that's my purpose in life. Like softball is like the platform that He's given me to like live out what He wants me to do and like show people Jesus' love and stuff. So.
I can 1000% say that that's why I feel like last year I felt so much more like just satisfied with where I was at, because my faith, I always went to church in like high school and stuff, and for some reason at Georgia I never went to church. Like Sundays I didn't even consider it. Like, I don't know, it totally was just on the back burner. I don't even know if it was on the back burner, just not even
it wasn't
anywhere. But then like coming here, like for some reason, like, I just felt that, like, I needed that part of me back.
Yeah.
Like, I needed it. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm just, with it, I'm still, like, growing my faith and, like, trying to love like Jesus and act like Jesus and all that kind of stuff. But, like I said, back like the year before, I knew that like I wasn't being a good friend and all that kind of stuff. And like you were saying, like trying to find something outside of softball. And I feel like those were the things. And one of the first like services I went to in Raleigh, they said something along the lines like people shouldn't, like you shouldn't have to tell people you love Jesus, your actions like should show it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just know mine aren't. And so that's what I need to take in this year is like, be the good friend, be like, love on like you're another person that's hurt, like love on people that need it, rather than just like so worried about myself, because I just knew that's not what like God intended for that year.
I think that's something that like helped me, especially as like God promises like peace and joy and love, and those are all like things that don't come from your circumstances. And that was like hard to understand, because I'm like, why is God putting me through this? Like, why did I have to do all this? And now I'm like, okay, like I see it. And even if I didn't see it, like I know that I serve a good God and He has a plan for me. And like now I feel like when I play softball, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna throw the best pitches that I can throw, but at the end of the day, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I can leave the field and be like, okay, like God's letting me walk, He's letting me grow, like I'm stronger than I've ever been. And it's like just being thankful for the things that like I do have, instead of being like, oh, my performance was like it's still okay to like want to work hard. And I think that's like what people sometimes like get confused about. Like it's okay to be upset.
Like you can be hard on yourself and like want to be great and do all those things, but when it gets to a point where it's literally consuming you, like outside of softball, like when you get home and you're still like criticizing yourself on how you played, that's just like
because
where you have to draw
isn't,
the line.
It's not who you are. It's just like what you do.
Like eventually it's gonna be over. Like both of us got hurt and experienced that. Like I feel like being hurt kind of has made me appreciate my extra years. Everyone jokes around like, oh, you're a fifth year, you could be a sixth year next year, whatever. But I'm just like, this could be over. And I experienced that. We both experienced not being able to walk. And I feel like that really kind of like,
you go from being like someone who's like lifting like 100 pounds, like
your perspective totally changes. And you just I realized how blessed I am, and for like getting that taken away, and then like realizing like I get to walk every day. Like it literally came down to me realizing like how blessed I am just for that. So it's like I feel like that's how like not putting so much pressure on my sport, because I'm like life could be so much harder. Like so.
I feel like my freshman year too, like before I would go out to pitch, I would have crippling anxiety. Like I would like want to throw up. I'd be like, I can't do this. Like it would be like the worst performance anxiety. Like I don't know where it really came from. It's kind of like something that happened in college. But now I'm like, I have these verses that I recite to myself, like, and I just feel so much like more peaceful when I'm out on the mound. Like I'm having fun. Like, and I never really could say that before. Like softball was kind of like a job. And now I'm like, I can't wait for us to get to the next inning so I can go out and pitch again.
Literally.
Like, and it's like actually fun, and I love it. So.
I feel like so many athletes, we even joke about this on our team because our coach says you don't have to, you get to. I feel like so many like schools and sports, like everyone says that, and
but it's so
I feel like when you do get it taken away, you like, it like hits you harder. Like, because it is funny, like, oh, we get to do this when we're up at 6 a.m. working out and stuff, but like when you don't get to do that, you're like, okay, I wish I was up at 6 a.m. running instead of laying down like in pain and stuff. So
that's what I said to my parents. They were like, don't you like hate waking up at 6 a.m. and doing it? I'm like, I could be laying in my bed with my crutches propped up beside me. Like, So I think it's just like a new appreciation too. Like,
for sure.
I'm like, not that I was happy when I got hurt and stuff, but I am glad. Like that's something that needed to happen to me.
Like
to,
looking back on it.
Which like now I'm like, I throw faster than I ever threw before I got hurt. There's so many things that I got really good at in the off season. I think that's something also like, you can't pitch and you can't catch and you can't like hit. But there's other things that like you don't have time for. Like right now, like I don't have time to go sit down and like discover new things and like try a new drop ball or try a new changeup and stuff like that. But whenever I was like, okay, I have a year
Yeah.
to like redefine myself and become like really good at the little things that make me a better pitcher. Like I worked on my spins a ton, like just getting stronger in places like now we lift, but I had all this time to like get the strongest like hips that I needed. So that now I can like lift even more. So it's like, I guess like something I would say is find like the little things that you can still do. And like pour yourself into that and be like, okay, I'm gonna become the best like spinner that I can be. And then when you come back, it's gonna like show up in your pitches and stuff. So
for sure. Yeah, just like finding the little things throughout it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I think it's time for your hair. We're gonna curl Wynne's hair today. So.
Yeah, we're going to the football game. We're taking the curds. So
yeah, so we're gonna get it all cute. You know. Yeah, in Taylor and Tori's episode when I curled their hair, the power blew. So let's see.
I can't believe you built this.
I'm a handy woman.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
You got any games on your phone?
Not when going through my DMs. Okay, so we're gonna curl Wynne's hair. Like I said earlier, we're gonna use this premium hair oil on her hair, just on like the ends and stuff, to get rid of some frizz and make sure her curls look perfect. So, I'm just gonna put it on her ends. Here. You can kind of see her like before.
Yeah.
Before ends.
Embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. It's okay. This one's coconut.
It smells good.
Yeah, it smells really good actually. And then perf.
Yeah,
look at that.
It looks great.
Nice and silky and shiny. So yeah, Wynne is recruits this weekend. One of them's on their official.
Yeah, one is on their official and then some are on their unofficial. I'm not really sure how that works honestly. But.
Yeah, now that I didn't know how that worked. I thought about that yesterday. Like now with like the rule change and stuff, I feel like all of them would have been like official since it's like so short in time.
Yeah, I don't know, but I know one girl is definitely on an official. But yeah, we took him to the basketball game last night. It was super fun. We won.
Hey.
And yeah, it was good.
Fun. Okay, well, like I said, we're gonna answer some questions now. Kind of just like a quick little Q&A while I curl her hair.
Do you want me to just start with the first one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some things you did while being hurt that helped you stay positive? Do you want to go first? Or?
I feel like I said, the first time around was really hard, but I guess I can kind of speak on this from this past year with my back. Like I said, I was trying to just like be that friend that like people needed. So just kind of like helping out. I don't know. Like I feel like with you, like we kind of like hung out more. I feel like more than like I would have in the past. Like just us hanging out and just trying to find joy with like my teammates, and then we literally just talked about this before, how I became like the DIY person for the team.
Peyton would make like pins for us with our faces on them and like give it to our parents and stuff. She got super crafty.
Yeah, I was definitely in like my crafty era last year, but just trying to find like things that brought me joy, I guess, outside of it, just like stuff like that. Just doing things for other people and just doing things that like took my mind off of softball in a way.
I know for me, like definitely being with my friends. It was hard, like obviously like if you're hurt, it's hard to like do activity and stuff. But me and Lily, she's on the volleyball team. We would go on walks like every Sunday after church and kind of just like debrief like our lives to each other and stuff. But it was like something to do, got me out of the house and stuff. I definitely picked up some new hobbies. I started to go fishing.
Oh my gosh.
With me and Ellie. We would fish and stuff like that. And then I'm trying to think what else. Like just like finding stuff that like I could do alone or like being with friends like for sure helped. Like just things that like even if it's something as simple as like going on a drive or something. Like just like taking time for yourself. And definitely like I think for me like in the mornings like reading my Bible and like doing my devotional and stuff like set me up for a good day. And like you were saying, just like being a good teammate, like you know, like you're out and you're upset, and it's hard because some people don't understand fully like how upset it actually can make you, but like just like being there for people and stuff, like I think that's what made it easier for me, is just like surrounding myself by people that I knew would help me.
I guess the overall thing would just be like finding things that like didn't make you think about like being hurt in the moment. So just like doing things like that made you feel better.
Yeah. Did you find anything outside your sport that gave you joy? So I guess kind of like the same thing. Being able to go home a lot was like very nice. Like whenever I wasn't traveling, the team would be like at, Florida or wherever they were going, Virginia Tech, stuff like that. And I would get to go. My parents, we moved to Wilmington. They my grandparents live there too, and so it's only an hour and a half pretty much away. And so almost every weekend I went to Wilmington and just was with family and stuff, and it made me appreciate a lot more how much you need your family, because just going there and then cooking me meals and stuff. And it really did take my mind. I was like, okay, I'm not just to them, I'm not just a softball player. To them, I'm Wynne, and I can be myself, and it's just really nice being able to go home and stuff and see your family and stuff. But,
I feel like that was a hard thing for me my first time around getting hurt, because I was still traveling with the team. So I feel like that made it really hard. So same as when I didn't travel last year, and that definitely was really helpful. I was able to go watch my sister play once.
Saw Austin. By the way, Austin just said he left us.
Okay. Austin's coming here this weekend. We're going to a wedding today, so. But just being able to go home, see Austin, see my parents a lot more than usual, see my sister, just being around family and stuff was really nice.
He said
he knows it too. Wynne's texting Austin right now.
From the
Hi, it's Wynne. So you're I know. I know it's Wynne.
What were ways that you made sure you got your rehab in every day? I feel like for me it was just knowing that every time I did my rehab, I'm just closer and closer to getting to play softball again. So that was motivating. But I have a notebook. This is kind of crazy, but I have a notebook and I just write down pretty much everything I do in a day. Now, it's my bullpens. After I throw a bullpen, I write down things that I said to myself that helped me throw a better pitch, or things that I worked on that I liked versus what I didn't like. And that all kind of started from me writing down my rehab and what I did that day. And also checking off things. There were things that I was okay, if I'm not gonna be playing softball, I need to make these 5 things a priority for me. And so one of them was mobility, making my bed, getting in protein every day, water, stuff like that. So I would write it down, and then every time I did it, I would check it off. And then I would be able to go back and look at my weeks and be okay, I did this 3 times a week. So next week my goal is 4. And then just kind of building off of that and stuff. And I think writing down your rehab and being able to go back and be oh wow, I really did a lot today, or okay, this made me feel a lot better, stuff like that. It's just motivating, because it's okay, this is something that I can work just as hard that I work at softball at. I can work on my rehab, and it'll make me a better softball player in the end.
I feel I wish I did that, because I feel rehab can get super repetitive. And it feel you're doing the same thing over and over and over again every day. But writing it down, that would have been so helpful for me. Just to realize you are doing so much more than you think you're doing each day. So
it also helped that Logan was our girl. Logan's our athletic trainer.
She's gonna be oh my gosh, you name dropped me again.
Oh, sorry, Logan.
I said something. I think it was when I was explaining my back last time, and the day after I posted this, she was you name dropped me in the podcast.
Oh well, all love. We love you, Logan.
Love you, Logan.
She got us through both our rehabs. Logan was saying that she was looking at her year ago memories, and it was just a bunch of photos of me in the hospital bed
oh my
getting
gosh,
going in for surgery.
That's funny.
Print some of those out.
Logan.
The next question is,
I just saw the
how did you feel support by friends? I think you can start with this one, because
I feel for me, I feel I keep going back to it, but my first one, I feel that was something I had a really hard time with, was friends and stuff, being there for me. And like Wynne said, like I feel like people don't understand how hard it is till like they have experienced it. So like going through it myself my junior year, like when no one else was hurt like with me or anything, it was definitely harder than like this past year. Like I said, like me and Wynne kind of like helped each other through it this past year because we were both hurt, but it's definitely really hard like not having someone to like relate to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my kind of take on it.
I think for me it's just like little things that people would do. Like I had a friend, like whenever I had hip surgery I couldn't like shave my legs, so she came over and like did it for me, which is like, oh, like people care. And like people would make meals for me and stuff, or just like little like a text every now and then from a teammate that's like, oh, you're doing great, or like I see like your work. And like especially having coaches like our coaches that like really care about you as a person, and like they're constantly checking up on me and like making me feel like seen and part of the team. Like especially it's hard when you're like, oh, I'm not like actually contributing. I think one thing that like if you do have a friend that is like going through an injury, like maybe I think the thing that would get to me the most is like people complaining about softball practice. And I would be like, okay, maybe complain to someone else about it because I can't relate. Like, I'm not like, I wish I was out there, honestly. Like, I wish I was doing, like, or they would say, oh, be happy you're hurt because you don't have to, you know, run this today. It's like, well, I would much rather run that than do what I'm going through right now. So I'd say, like, just, like, be positive to them mostly. Like, they don't want to feel any more negative thoughts than they already do. So it's, like, just try to, like, I would say be positive and, like, just little things that, like, if you think, you know, you're thinking about them, just text them and tell them that.
I don't think people realize, like, I feel like this is with anything, not just like people who are injured. A text goes a long way. Like, if you think about someone, literally just text them. So I know, like, I appreciate that so much. It's just, it's nice to know that people are thinking about you no matter, like, what it is. So I feel like that would be a good tip for anything. Oh, Austin texted me back.
He said, hi, this is Austin. Alright, we're out of questions. Last one is China.
Oh my gosh. Wynne is actually insane.
Cut it. So I'm actually crazy. I've been lying this whole time pretending to be normal. I'm not.
She's not. She's actually the funniest person I know.
Aw, thanks, Steven.
You are.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Who is this? Oh. Interesting. I'm gonna have the best hair at the game today. We're playing Duke today, and we get to go on the field before the game. So.
You can take pictures on the field? That would be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
What's up, I guess?
I went on the field a couple weeks ago.
So fun.
With the recruits, and I was taking pictures on the field, and keep in mind, like, when we go on the field, it's like when they're like warming up and stuff, kind of. And literally the football coach, which I'm so bad because, like, yes, this is my second year, but I literally had no idea who he was. And he, like, walked straight past me and, like, starts throwing out t-shirts, like, in front of, like, say you're, like, the person taking a picture of me, and I'm standing here, and he just, like, walks right in between us. And I was like, who's this guy? And they're like, that's our football coach. I was like,
didn't know who
I was like, oh, mad that he, like, cut off my pictures.
That's funny.
Like,
do you have him in a photo?
Yeah, there's like a video of it. I have it.
That's
I'll have
funny.
to show it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But no, going on the field is so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
I always love doing that, like when I went on my visits and stuff to places.
Yeah, that's one thing I miss about not going on visits. But oh well.
Is what it is. Okay, I guess just finish us off with your like biggest tip of advice for someone that's hurt and then someone that knows someone that's hurt.
Okay, my biggest advice for someone that is hurt is to just be where your feet are and work on the things that you can work on. Like, take pride in the stuff that you're still able to do, and just know that every little thing that you're doing is gonna push you forward in some sort of way to get back onto the field. And I think just like finding positive things in everything that you do. Like, you can become like like I got really good at cooking and like meal prepping, and that's like now it's like helped me a ton.
Yeah.
So like just like finding little things that just are gonna make you better, at, even if it's not like directly related to your sport.
Yeah.
And then as a friend, I would say just like be there for them. Like if they want to talk, talk to them, and just be like a positive person. Like because a lot of times their thoughts are already pretty negative.
Yeah.
So just like be a positive thought for them whenever they need it. So
Slay.
yeah. Thanks for having me, Pete.
Here's your curls.
Yay.
Nice and cute.
Game day.
Game day hair.
Bye. Hey, good luck, Charlie.
Good luck, Charlie.